from everything I'm seeing in this explanation, a Doulahan and a Revenant will be the same thing because the purpose of what's going on is to get the head.
Well, no, a dual hand is supposed to have its head. She had her head, then during her backstory, her head went missing.
Yeah. I'll,
Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Justin, and we are back with Durarara. Something I think I forgot to do in our first 3 recordings of this show was to thank Master Detective, who is once again sponsoring these. Um, I have it, it's the first thing in my notes, but sometimes if you scroll down one line in your notes, you miss everything at the top. So, apologize if I didn't do that last time, but once again, thank you, Master Detective, for sponsoring this from Patreon. Uh, we are here today to do the final 3 to catch us up for the month. So, how about you go ahead and remind us of what happened the last time?
um, I remember something involving a gang thing.
Dollars?
I can't. Thank you. I knew it was due to. I knew it was to do with money,
Well,
but I couldn't remember the name.
all the other gangs are color based, but the
Yes.
dollars they say have no colors.
Yes, so I remember that. It was basically bullying different students from the class, and it turned out that they were actually fake dollars that we found out later on in the episode. There was a fight between Simon and a the guy with blonde hair. Cannot remember his name.
Shizu.
Got it. Um, that
Well, I mean, you say
also
a fight between Simon and Shizu. Remember, Shizu throws a trash can at Isaiah, who just like
that's what it
fucking
was.
goes down, and then when they're about to fight, the fake dollars that you mentioned before, like hit Shizu, and he like punches a dude out of all of his clothes and a shoe,
Yeah.
and that's when Isaiah gets away or tries to get away. Shinzu throws a vending machine at him, and I almost forgot. Simon jumps down what
Yeah.
5 stories to catch the vending
Simon
machine.
jumps down 5 stories, catches the vending machine, and it was all because he wasn't supposed to be in his territory. Do
Right.
I actually know what's happening in the show? No. Is it entertaining? Yes.
Here's the thing. I don't know. There's. I feel like there's a show I should be able to compare this to that we've watched already in the
Okay.
manner of the depth of this. Nope, sorry. I know what I'm thinking now. You know how I keep mentioning Recross every fucking episode we recorded? This is another one of those.
Yeah.
Sorry. I guess advertisement for another show. Um, on the channel, we're doing a reaction to a series called Macross 7, and the problem with Macross 7 is that it doesn't seem to have a story, and it only doesn't seem to have a story because every episode peppers you with a small bit of a mystery, but
Yeah.
not enough to figure anything out. You have to put together these little tidbits across many episodes to figure things out. And I feel like that's what happens in Durarara, is that you see a little bit of each character and a little bit of each day and kind of have to try and figure out, okay, this is what they're doing then. Why are they doing that? I don't know, but we know it interacts with this other thing over here. Why is he trying to make a girl jump off to her death? Why is the dual hand saving people? Why is the dual hand taking jobs? Why did she come out of an elevator with a scientist? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions, not a lot of answers, and a
And
lot of
that's exactly
characters.
the energy that I was getting. It seems like the kind of story it's I don't know if it is, but it seems very like noir inspired. Where like you get details up until the point where there's like a section of the story that's meant to make everything click into place.
I mean, it very well could be. Um, I think as you already know, I'm only 6 episodes in myself. We're catching you up to 6 episodes. I think there's 2 seasons of this show. So I'm pretty sure that this is one of those stories that just ends. Like, there is a planned resolution, and it's just
Okay.
trying to get there. But I think there's 2 seasons to Durarara, so
Got it.
6 episodes in, maybe we're not even meant to know.
Oh, I fully expect that we're not. But I think I think we are getting valuable information that will matter in the end already.
And I have my notepad here, which has notes for episode 5 and episode 6 on it. So I can at least get you into what my insight was at the end of episode 5, and then at the
Got
end
it.
of episode 6, I'll show you the board, and I'll
Hell yeah.
say what my thoughts were the first time. Because I think my thoughts are basically going to be the same. It's more about seeing what you think as things are happening. See if you notice things that I didn't.
Love it.
Because my thing is that I watched each episode twice when I had to do it solo. All right. Well, I guess you have anything else to add before we get into it?
I do not.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and warp speed. I don't know. Try to come up with terms.
Why don't we watch a thing?
Well, I mean, because that would be another better name for the channel. The Let's Watch a Thing channel.
But before we get started,
Make sure that you hit the like button.
hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
Uncensored.
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
You can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about this opening.
I think in the spectrum of opening songs on the channel,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's still probably number one. Because again,
Ah,
I'm taking it from other shows that you're not in as well.
no, understood.
My thing is that I really like 80s metal, or not 80s metal, 80s rock.
Yeah.
And as I keep mentioning, Macross 7 is like the entire spectrum of songs, and that show is 80s rock, so that's what makes it a hard weigh in for me. Do I take my natural tendency towards 80s rock, or this obvious banger?
So I think this is the best of the shows that I've watched on the channel, but it's because the energy of it matches the show perfectly, and it's an obvious banger.
And then the mid opening recap.
Hell yeah.
The only thing I would say that you maybe wouldn't be giving a fair shake is Mushoku Tensei, and that's only because it doesn't technically have an opening, but it does have a song that plays over the text crawls.
I would rank Mushoku Tensei in top 3, but I don't think it touches this.
What would you say the genre is? I'm feeling what, like punk?
I would say like mystery punk.
I mean, of the song.
Oh, of the song.
'Cause it makes me feel like
Alt
a
rock.
little bit of maybe like a No Boy No Cry.
I would give it like I would give it like punk rock.
I'm sorry, I said No Boy No Cry. I did not mean the I can't even remember the guy's name now.
Are you talking Bob Marley, No Woman, No Cry?
Yeah, no, okay, no, I did mean No Boy No Cry then. No Boy No Cry is a Stance Punks song, which Stance Punks did the opening themes for other anime, and they're a punk band. I was trying to make sure I wasn't talking about Bob Marley.
Yeah. No, it definitely has punk vibes, but like it's not just straight punk. I wouldn't even put it pop punk. Like I'd put it like pop rock punk.
Also, those were the 3 Garyu girls that were bullying that other girl last episode.
Uh-huh.
Again, the chat rooms would be so much easier if we could read Japanese.
Yeah.
本当に関わり合いになった人は寡黙になるらしい。
ごめんなさい。よくわからないんで。
Excuse me, I've got to go jump off a roof.
あなたはどうかな。
Yeah.
あの伝説の
That looked like the
ど
scientist.
んな印象を抱いてる
Yep.
怖いかっこいい実はなんだかいい人そう
It's Benny's.
いや、やっぱり。どう受け止めたらいいのかわからない。今日は首なしライダーについて僕が知っていることを教えよう。ルール面々とした話になるが、稀有壮大な心で聞いてほしい。
Okay.
まずは自己紹介しよう。僕
Are
は
we gonna get a
岸
flashback?
24歳。この町でモグリの医者をやっている。あえて言えば出張闇医者だ。
So not a
武
scientist.
器で傷ついた人たちの手当てとか
Just that guy John Wick
顔を
goes
変えな
to.
きゃならない人たちの整形手術とか。
Okay, so he's a mob doctor.
こう見えても腕もいいし信頼もあるんだ。さて、いよいよ本題だ。ただいま。
If any real world logic is followed, that man makes bank.
I was just thinking the same
So,
based on the size of
僕は
his
首なしライダー、
home.
Hmm.
セルティ・ストゥルルソンと同居している。
Oh.
帰ったよ、
Okay.
セルティ。こっちはよくある簡単な仕事だったよ。そっちはどうだった
I can't see you say welcome back because I'm
ごめん
not
ごめん
perving on you.
なんかいやらしい意味じゃなく、
うん
ついうっかり。おああ、なんかイラついているようだね。
Everyone asks what is the dual hand. No one asks how is the dual hand.
Or why is no, I was gonna say or why, or when is the Doulahan?
いいんじゃないかな。もっとも僕はあれだ。栄養学には疎いから、卵の殻にいかほどのカルシウムが含まれているのか、どれだけ吸収効率がいいのかといった類のことはわからないけどね。そもそも君の脳みそがどこにあるかもわからないのに、カルシウムがどれだけ有用かってこともあるけどさ。
Okay.
黙れ。
Doesn't know where the head is. That isn't valuable information, I think.
なあ、セルティ。何度も聞くけど。
I mean, if we're going into the motif of the whole dual hand thing, we've seen the shadow of the motorcycle turn into a horse's shadow before.
Yes.
他人に教えることはできない。
彼女には首がないけど、視界もあるし、音も聞こえるし、匂い
If it is, it dates the show.
ただ、首がないからって全
Little
方向が見えるわけじゃないらしい。
YCU doesn't exist anymore. Remember, they shut down.
少し視野が広い程度みたいだ。これは僕の推理に過ぎないけど、君の体から絶えず染み出している、その影のような不思議 SF とんでも物質。その粒子が光の代わりに周囲に放たれ、跳ね返ったところを吸収し、周囲の情報を得ているというのはどうかな。
Yeah.
当然、遠くのものに対しては情報が不鮮明になる。
Yeah, it doesn't seem right because that wouldn't work for riding a
見え
motorcycle.
て聞こえればそれでいい。
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to tell what's in front of
君
you.
はいつだってそうだ。君の感じる世界は、果たして僕が感じてる世界とどれだけ差異があるのか。僕はただそれが気になるだけなんだよ。これは何も視界だけの話じゃない。価値観の問題でもある。
So
人間
this
としての
man
価値
is
観は
actually a
この
scientist.
街に具現化したただ一人の妖精。
Well, I mean, he's a scientist in the way that anyone that uses the scientific method is
デ
a
ュラハンとして
scientist.
見た世界の価値ってやつをさ。
What I mean by that is he's effectively writing a thesis right now, because he's trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this, which could affect massive information, and it's effectively a study.
どうしたんだい？
I'm sorry, you lost me with your first mispronunciation. He's writing a thesis. Is that your research paper that you have to determine how much of the words you can change before it's your original research paper?
I said thesis. I did not say thesis.
Hmm.
仕事自体は何事もなくあっさり終わったんだ。
で、
It's interesting that they give her a voice even though she communicates through text.
Yeah. Oh, Okay, so she's clearly being shown as like an individual person and not a transformation.
I mean, we've already put out the theory about where the head is.
Yeah, so I think that actually does line up.
アイルランドの首がない妖精のことらしいんだけど、最近代々木公園に流れてきた似顔絵描きのじいさんが昔それを見たって言ってんだよね。そのじいさんがさ、首がないって騒いでたらしいんだ。それって要するにデュラハンってやつの首のことかな。
まだそこにいるのか。
さあ、ちょっとわかんないけど。
I mean, I don't know
やっぱり気になるんだ。
how much that matters. Because, you know, everybody in the city is talking about the Black Rider, so they already know her.
Yeah.
Oh, just says she's not human. The show is officially labeling her a dual hand. I just mean anybody that's ever seen her get her helmet knocked off has seen.
So I think her story is gonna be an obvious one. I don't think she is what the mystery of the show is about.
I plead the fifth.
Mm-hmm.
For 2 more episodes, I plead the fifth on that.
Absolutely.
Obviously, not that I know, because I only know up to episode 6, so if it's could entirely possibly not what the show is about.
そんな不吉で死の匂いに満ちた伝説と現実の彼女の姿は簡単には結びつかないね。首がないことを除いては。彼女がなぜこの日本、この東京、この池袋にやってきたのか。なぜこんなにも自分の首にこだわっているのか。
Because it's hers.
それをこれからお話ししよう。
Ownership, property rights, etc.
So if her head makes a verbal contract, does she have to also agree with it?
彼女がある山の中で不意に目を覚ますと、いつの間にか首がなくなっていた。その瞬間に気づいたのは、様々な記憶が欠落していたこと。
No, we would know. Sorry, I was actually just considering.
It's all good.
The fact that her body is moving around on its own and communicating would imply that the head, if it were to communicate, would be communicating independently. In which case, they're 2 different conscious forces.
But in a court of law, are they the same person?
She's not human. Therefore, she's not afforded human rights.
Fair enough.
ということだった。それに続いて自分の首とおぼしき気配を感じることができるのにも気がついた。状況を考え、彼女は一つの推理をした。
So she's like Bayonetta with smoke.
もともと体と頭で共有していたものであり、
Yes.
欠落した記憶は頭の中に含まれているのではないかと。そして彼女は決意した。己の存在意義を知る首を取り戻すこと。それこそが今の自分に与えられた存在意義だ。
So she's not actually a dual hand if you think about it. She's actually a revenant.
Yes, but couldn't you argue that the Doulahan, based off explanation of what it is a form of revenant?
No. A Doulahan is supposed to have its head. She lost her head, and now she's made it her whole mission in existence to get her head back, which is a revenant, you know, being a dead force.
Yeah.
With only one mission.
Hmm.
In that way, I think she's transformative from a Doulahan to a revenant. Except for the fact that she takes odd jobs. So that you're gonna find revenants taking odd jobs.
船の行き先は日本らしい。密航して後を追うと決めたはいいが、 問題はこの馬だ。これは馬の死骸に憑依させたデュラハンの使い魔のような存在だ。いざとなれば消し去ってしまうこともできたのだが、果たしてその後にどこへ行ってしまうのか。
Oh, you like that?
その記憶は多分頭の
Yeah.
中だ。
Yeah, that's
The head has the
それが分か
knowledge.
っていてもなかなか
I
踏み
could
切る
do
ことがで
something
きない。
here. But unless I get my head back, I won't know where it went.
そんな時、
So, from everything I'm seeing
彼女は
in this explanation,
それに出会ったんだ。
a Doulahan and a Revenant will be the same thing because the purpose of what's going on is to get the head.
どこにも見つからなかった。
Well, no, a dual hand is supposed to have its head. She had her head, then during her backstory, her head went
おととい
missing.
くらいから
Okay,
南池袋公園
yeah.
に来てたんだ。
I'll,
そうだ。一緒に行ってやろうか。そんなんじゃ不便だろ。な。
Also, the number of people she communicates with that are just fine with the fact that she's a supernatural being.
ちょっとおじさんさすがですね。
いやいや、まだまだ書きたいものもまともに書けないありさまでね。
ありがとうございました。
どういたしまして。またおいで。ああ、すまんがもう暗いんだ。
I guess this is
今
Yokohara.
日はこれで終わりだ。
I think so.
The town, I mean, not this guy.
ああ、ああ、本当だと思う。私が若い頃、アイルランドの山の中で見た。間違いなくこの目でな。
首をなくしたとはどういう意味だ。
首をなくしたそうじゃない。首がないんだ。首がどうしても決ま
Well,
らない。
duh. That would be a dual hand.
ほれ。女だった。それもひどく美しい女だった。霧の深い夜、山道ですれ違った。ものすごい勢いで走り去っていった。恐ろしくも美しい姿だった。この世のものじゃない。そう直感した。宿に帰って話をすると、それはデュラハンに違いないと言われた。古くからその地に住んでいるんだそうだ。
なぜあなたのデュラハンは首をかけないんだ。
かけないん
It's
だ。
interesting because the only
書くほど違って見える。あの日の記憶
the
は確かなの
only
に
world building stuff around her that entire time looked like it was old timey, right? Like
Yeah.
like she even goes into night form, but then this guy shows up and talks to a dude spinning a pen, like a modern pen.
Yeah.
最近妙な男が訪ねてきてな。その男はこの絵はこれで完璧だと言うんだ。彼女は首がなくていいんだとね。変わった男だった。
なんでそこまでこだわるんだ。
I'm gonna guess either that was Shinra,
私の人生で
who clearly might have a thing for her,
あの夜が
or
一生
Isaiah,
取り戻したいんだ。
who set this whole thing up already, because we know that he was talking about this guy.
Hmm.
じいさん、ありがとな。
なるほどね。
It could be a Thanos situation with the idea of courting death.
記憶はないんだろ。
Oh, I thought you were gonna say should have aimed for the head.
ない。
No, but that's funny.
Also, whoever said that to him, I can't think of a more sexist line as to say the perfect woman has no head.
私だ。きっとそうだ。そうか。
I also want to point out that the guy that
何を思い、どんなもの
the artist guy was talking to
そんなに気にする必要があるんだ
had
ろう
a white outfit thing on his arm that we saw and was spinning around a pen.
神出鬼没
Then we
で
immediately go to
斬新奇抜な
Shinra,
存在
who's
だ
wearing his white lab coat and spinning around a pen.
今のままでは君の望みの達成
Yeah.
は前途良縁だ。
何が言いたい。
単純に言おう。諦めなよ。その変わった男の言ったこと、当たってるんじゃないかな。首、なくたっていいんじゃないかな。 自分の首を探すのはもうやめてさ、二人でどこかに行こうよ。どこでもいい。君が望むなら、僕はどんな手を使ってでも君を故郷に返してみせる。僕もそこへ行くよ。
Any means possible? You mean buying a ticket?
今こうしてここ
Yeah.
で暮らしているだけで十分だ。
そんなこと言わないでさ。
十分だ。
だったらさ、せめてもうちょっと女の子らしく。
もういい。
お
Number one thing to say to piss somebody off. Try being more feminine.
Well, I was leaning more on the fact that she didn't even write anything down, but they gave her a voice. You know, she only communicated text. She said, "Leave me alone" or whatever, but she didn't type anything, didn't write anything, nothing.
船員に話をつけて密航したはいいが、彼女は自分の姿がひどく目立つことに気がついた。彼女を知る今となってはなんてことない光景だけど、初めて見た時は驚いたものさ。僕が4歳の時だった。僕は父さんと一緒に日本へ帰る途中だった。父の信玄はお世辞にも普通とは言えない人間だ。僕が見たことを聞いたら、親としては一生に付すのが正しい態度じゃなかろうか。しかし父さんは違った。医者としての差がなのか、がぜん興味を持ったんだ。
Okay, I had his name on the board, that's fine.
Okay.
I didn't realize that I knew his name, but apparently I did.
一度だけでいい。あなたを解剖させてくれれば居場所を提供しよう。彼女は承諾した。打算もあればいろいろ不安もあったろう。この時のことを彼女はあまり覚えていないらしい。人間用の麻酔はあまり効かず、ショックが強かったのかもしれない。
That is rough.
I would say, as someone who's had biopsies in areas that they didn't anesthetize properly, yeah. I mean, I went into fucking shock, so I assume most people would.
こいつどうやったら死ぬんだ。
ひどい父親だろう。
By the way, if my 4-year-old son here's a naked dead woman.
けど、こんな教育のおかげで医者の技能が身についたんだから、
Get to
何
cutting.
が幸いするかわからない。
どうした？
一目見た時から彼女に見せられていた。
I see why a weird obsession
一
developed.
緒に暮らしたこの20年間、全く変わってない。そして彼女は運び屋の仕
You
事を
need
しな
to
が
act
ら
more feminine. Woman I cut up at 4 years old.
Yeah.
I'd have lived with my whole life.
彼女は
And
どうなって
she's
しま
like,
うんだろう。
yeah, no, and he's
彼女
like,
の意志はそのまま首に
maybe we'll have a thing. And she's like, this guy's still around.
何を撮ってるんだ？
ああ、いや、なんというか、甘い日常の断面を一切合切語り尽くして後世に残そうかと。
何でもいいから静かにしてくれ。眠れない。
悪かったよ。
So you need to sleep?
じゃあこの辺で続きはまたいつか。おお、完璧じゃないですか。
ああ？どこが完璧なんだ？
See, I knew it was
首を
him.
抱えているのが本来の姿なんだぞ。
別になくたっていいんじゃないですか、首なんて。
いいわけがない。実物を見ていないからそんなことを言うんだ。世にも美しい女だったんだよ。
ですよね。
ん？
でもやっぱり首はない方がいいな。その方がチャーミングですよ。
I know somebody out there is saying, of course you know you've seen this episode before.
おじいさんも悩
It's
む
been 3 months. It's been 3 months since I've seen this episode, and you've seen that I forgot things that we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
だが私は書く。
いいんですってこれで。
変わった男だな、あんた。
いやー、それほどでも。
Even the guy who's drawing the thing he saw once as a kid.
They're both weird.
is like, "Yo, fam, you're
Well,
weird."
I mean, they're both weird because he's drawing a picture of a headless Abdullahan that he saw with no head. And he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna add a head. You know? It's like, why? That's weird too.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like if they sent sketch artists to crime scenes, and then the sketch artist at the crime scene is just adding shit. You know? Well, was brutally murdered. She had her head cut off and it was thrown all the way over there, but I'm just gonna go ahead and draw it on her body still. Because I feel like that's better. You're fired. According to
Little
this
bit.
drawing, there was no crime. Just a woman fell asleep on the road.
So I didn't like seeing her dead, so I just drew her taking a nap.
Well, Your Honor, all the evidence we have is down to artist interpretation. There's characters in the ending that I don't know if we've seen yet. Like that woman that was crossing her arms, just like the reverse of Shinra here.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the opening as well, obviously, but I mean...
俺のラブラブ劇中でハートブレイキンな日常を知りたいか？なら君のハートのチャンネルをこのシャイでクールなキラマサオミに合わせてくれ。次回、妖刀君か300年に一度のチャンスを見逃すな。
Oh, that,
1 in
Sailor
300
banana
years chance.
comes again.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, thoughts on the episode?
Cool setup, but I don't. I get why it's there. Not my favorite.
Not interested in the trials and tribulations of a Doulahan and their journey from Ireland to Japan in search of their missing head,
Not as much as I thought it would be.
given the fact that she's also one of the apparent prime prime movers? Maybe not movers. What you call it? Prime muscle of the show?
Yeah, like it brought up more questions about what did his father learn anything more? What does the head know? Where is the head? Like it brought up more questions that I think are good setup stuff, but standalone not pulling me in.
Yeah. It's backstory for the character who's had the most interconnectivity of everyone so far.
Yes.
But in your opinion, completely unnecessary.
I did not say unnecessarily. I just said it didn't draw me in.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's the point of a show, right?
Mhm.
Because otherwise, I feel like that's just a 5-minute scene in another episode, right?
I think it could have been half an episode versus a full episode, and I think it would have been fine.
I think that's the difference between the cuts that we're making. In my head, the only important things there that I can think of are Shinra meeting Celti and Shinra's dad. Other than that, it's all kind of generic. You know, I was a Doulahan, I lost my head. Now you know.
I think it was also important setup to show his strange attraction to her.
I mean, that does handle motivation if something is to happen down the road. But the fact they live together already and he, like, sees her off when she, like, drives off into the night kind of already expresses that. Like, you don't go through that kind of effort to, like, you know, good luck when you go to school, you know, see somebody off. There's a connection there. Because otherwise, it's just I'm in my room working, you leave, I don't care.
Well, I think it goes to show that it's not healthy at all on his side. versus her being like, okay, I made an agreement, whatever, but like this is my place to stay. Don't be like, stop being creepy. Like it very much shows that the devotion that he has is not even verging on, but beyond the point. It's an obsession.
I mean, we've used the word creepy. It's the first thing that I pointed out in the episode is that he's not perving on her. Like she's in the shower, he barely cracks it open to talk to her, and he's not even standing on the side to look in. He's like, you know, he's respectful about it. It seems anyway.
It's still a creepy level of obsession.
And I would say that we've only seen it from the past. I mean, we're calling it
Now,
creepy levels of obsession. I feel like if you had a headless horseman in your house, it'd be weird not to be looking into it.
it's not that he's looking into it. It's how long it's been going on. And if it's set up down the road that it's more of a protective feeling versus an interest thing, then that gives the justification.
Well, I mean, I'm leaning
But
back towards the thing that you said at the beginning, which was that he kind of is a scientist. That he's only doing things like, how do you see? What's the point of the smoke? And then he's
yep,
also doing, like, man on the street interviews. What do you think about them? What's your perception about them? You know anything about them? So it's not, again, it's not he's doing anything objectively creepy.
it's the fact that he's treating it like a relationship, not like roommates living together and like the scientist aspect of it and all that. That's all fine. But you can see it's very much a one-way relationship on his side.
I mean, I know what you're talking about, 'cause you're probably stemming from the whole you need to act more feminine thing, but I
You need
don't
to act more
know.
feminine, hand on the shoulder. Like there's a lot of signs of his level of connection is so much more personal than hers.
So yeah, I can't tell what the reciprocity is here. So again, it'd be easier if she had a face, and I could tell if she was like emoting something, but her body language don't really change that much. It's either all in or apparently doesn't care. I mean, not
Mhm.
doesn't care, but default body language doesn't express emotion. She doesn't like cross her arms to indicate that she's in a defensive place or put her hands on her hips or, she's just kind
Yeah.
of stands there and does nothing. And then it's either that or flips out and runs off, It's one or two.
Yes, no, so I agree. Like it all depends on what the relationship actually is based on outside of the scientific part of it.
And the other thing that I've said all the time, not specifically here, but in conversations, is that text is a hard medium to read. Only
Agreed.
because you can imply something without specifically stating it. Different uses of grammar change meanings, and if you're typing something on the fly, you're not implying that. I I'm not going to use a real life example, but Key and Peele have an amazing sketch if you've ever seen them, where one
I
guy,
know the exact one you're
yeah,
talking about.
going out together. What do you mean anything? One dude's getting super angry about everything, and the other guy just, he's using common terms as you would if you were saying it, but there's no inflection in the text. So,
Yep.
one guy shows up ready to fight, and the other guy is ready for a good time.
Yes, and so I think if we get an establishment of motivation on either side as to why the relationship is as it is and it's shown to be less toxic, that is phenomenal, and I think the door is completely open. So let's say they find the Doulahan's head at one point, right? And part of the whole reason why she wasn't even connecting was because the head wasn't there, and like that capability wasn't there. Then the connection happens, sure. Or if there's a moment where she's like, "Hey, stop! This is no," and it's an appropriate conversation. I think that's fine. But as it stands currently, to me, it's a very creepy, one-sided relationship.
I will say I do not care. It's the word I want to use here about it. Only because I don't think it's the thing that I attract myself to in the episode. His dad, Shinra's dad, whose name I have written somewhere, but I'm not going to look it up right now, is the main point of that entire thing for me, which is why I said I could break it down to 5 minutes of another episode. Because, again, we see his hand when he's talking to the artist, indicating that he's here for it, I guess. Because he's the one who tells the artist about what a Doulahan is. And then he's just ready on the boat for the Doulahan to go to Japan, because he's already going to Japan, but he's already prepared to do like impromptu surgery on a boat. So, and then he's done some sort of research on the Doulahan with that agreement that they had. So, to me, that is the introduction of what feels like a bigger character than anything else, because you don't introduce a guy like that into the background without him coming back later.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that.
Plus, what did he fucking learn from the surgeries?
I think he's studied another Doulahan. And he's figured out something, and he's coming back.
I don't know about another Doulahan. I would take it as the only thing that we know is what was on screen, which is to say he was trying to figure something out with the Doulahan that he had. I would not be surprised if this guy came back later and was like just fucking immortal or something.
I could see it.
Because we saw the point of the incisions that we saw was that you could hurt her, but everything healed back up immediately. Like, we even saw the blood pooled back into her body.
Do you think he could be connected to the dollars?
Oh god, we know nothing about the dollars except the fake dollars. Technically, we know more about fake dollars than we do real dollars.
Exactly.
I don't see how. I mean, not unless he's like 80s bad guy. You know, like rich guy who does stuff, and that way he's got like just a gang representing him, and he's like, "Well, I'm rich. What do I call them? The dollars." You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to say this is better than 80s bad guy writing.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I'm hoping either the dollars are just some random background element that doesn't really matter, or sorry, the moment I started saying they're like a bad 80s bad guy, I started thinking of the Double Dragon movie. In which case, the dollars are just going to be like the homegrown good guys that are fighting against him.
I think that has potential.
Yeah, well, I mean, they made a movie about it once, so. Well, you had anything else you want to add here before we wrap up?
I'm gonna throw out one more potential for the dollars. I think the dollars might be a element that is keeping the criminal element of the city under control on a supernatural level.
Unless Shinzu, Azaya, or Simon are members of the dollars, then I don't think that's right.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of them was.
Well, it just seems that those three are if there is one, those three are anti-supernatural, because they're the super strong, can jump 5 stories to the ground, super fast. I don't know. Isaiah is obviously super fast because we saw him flash the knife once, like for half a mil of a second on screen. Dude went bald, you know? And then when
Yeah.
Shinzu went to fight with him, he pulls out the knife again like he's ready to go for it. So he must be super speed. Shinzu has to be super strong.
Yep.
But then again, I guess that technically not everybody has to have their own gimmick because it looks like Simon is just also super strong.
I think Simon is super durable.
I don't know, because he stops the vending machine and then puts it down, implying
So-
he could carry the weight of it.
So I'm guessing that the super strong comes with an element of speed because of the strength of the body. The super durable comes with an element of the strength because of how it develops. I that's my guess.
The moment you started into that, I realized what we were doing. You remember Cracked back in the day, After Hours?
Yeah.
Yeah. Back with the what would your superpower be, and then they cover the fact that if what you're typically thinking about is a superpower package. Because if you
Yes.
just had flying without super strength, you would land and your legs would go shooting up through your spine.
Exactly.
Alright, well, I guess until we see more of them, I don't know. Also, until we see more of the dollars, I don't know.
Exactly.
Alright. Well, that said, I think we're going to wrap up here for today. Once again, I am Theta. This is Justin. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?